listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Biggest Loser After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Biggest Loser After Show.
You know you want to sing it, McKenzie.
I do. I'm like just trying to.
You just want to like get up.
I know. Should we go to the dance camp?
I think if we do, we won't get away from it.
Yeah. I love the song.
Love it. Oh,
Okay.
well, there it
Well-
was. That was Monster and Eminem. Or, sorry, Rihanna and Eminem with Monster. And welcome, everybody. This is episode 6, season 15 of The Biggest Loser. I am Lauren Mendoza, and here with me is
McKenzie Fayne.
yet another good episode. You missed last week. You're coming back from the East Coast.
So sad.
So sad. You missed a good one, but you're all brought back up to speed.
Caught up, everyone.
Craziness. And how excited were you to find out that Ruben Studdard is returning for this episode?
I was so happy. I couldn't even believe it.
I was so happy. As sad as I was to see Craig leave last week, it was unfortunately a little overshadowed by my excitement for Ruben's return.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want Craig to leave. I really liked him. I liked his story.
But, I mean, he is just looks...
Right? Insane.
He was this tiny little man.
Yeah, and he's only getting tinier. So good job, McKenzie, bringing us right back to the start of this episode. We get to see Craig and how he's doing now. So he is at 274 at this point, and he's lost already over 110 pounds.
That's so crazy. That's
He looks so good. He's doing really well.
That's like a whole me.
Yeah.
He lost me.
Yeah, he did. He lost you. You were gone. Definitely. And he looks so good, and we finally saw him kind of get to go to his father's grave and, you know,
That was so
speak
sad.
to his father and kind of say the things that he really wanted to say. And I think right now maybe his words of appreciation probably only mean that much more than they ever have before, because he's at, you know, such a good place in his life, and he doesn't have that fear of dying the way his father did, now that he knows that he can kind of push past this whole, you know, weight issue that he's facing.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we start with the wonderful Ruben Studdard. Everybody comes back from the weigh-in and they see Ruben for the first time, and they're so excited,
He goes,
as was I.
He goes, y'all are so skinny.
He's so cute.
He is.
I'm almost, as I was watching this episode, wondering if he gets as skinny as we have seen these Biggest Loser contestants get. If he gets that skinny, will I like it?
I so glad you said that.
And I know that's so sad, because this show is all about what's best for the contestants. We all want to be healthy, and I am a strong believer in that. But I love Ruben. I want to hug him so much.
Yeah. Is it going to be Ruben Studdard anymore?
It will. You know why? Because he has such a great personality, and that will never change.
Yeah.
Better not change. So we get to see him come back, which is absolutely great. After we see that moment with him, we also cut to the moment with Jillian and her team, where she is apologizing for what we saw last week, where her decision to give her team caffeine supplements jeopardized the weigh-in, and they ended up losing Craig. Mm-hmm. You know, and they are down to 3 people. The last thing they need is to lose another teammate.
Yeah.
You know, it was really sad. And I saw them sitting there, and, you know, Jillian apologized and said, and we all believe this, you know, she's a trainer and she knows what she's doing. And she just told them, you know, she makes these decisions in their best interest. And this one really backfired on her, and she had no intention to do that.
She's only human, and they understood that. And Jay,
She's better than human.
You think?
Oh, I think so.
Okay, I get that.
That's my opinion, because I love her so much, and she knows so much. I think it was it Jay who said, you know, we need to back her just as much as she backs us. And you know what? If I were on their team and Jillian gave me those, gave me caffeine supplements just because the show said you can't do that, I still know she's doing the right thing for me. Yeah. And ultimately, that's all that really matters is she does have my best interest at heart. And it's not like she put your health in jeopardy.
The thing about it, she was so apologetic and she was just like, I'm so sorry. Like, she could barely even look at them and I felt so bad. Yeah. But then, they were all like, we're just going to keep going. We're in it to win it. And she was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to be. But like, as I'm watching their team, even throughout the rest of this episode, I just feel like they are down. You know what I mean? Like, they need something positive because they're losing teammates like flies. They haven't won a competition or a challenge yet.
Yep.
They really just don't have anything to hold on to. And I think, for anybody, when you're trying so hard and you keep going, you need a little bit of success to keep motivating you.
Yeah, there is no motivation.
Right. I mean, they are getting it when they see their own weight loss, sure. But like, you want to keep your team in the game. You want to win when you're competing in these challenges against the other teams. There's other things at stake. There was money in this particular challenge. We see them go to this challenge. So basically, like I said in the last couple episodes, you know exactly what I'm going to say. They have these complicated challenges. Mm-hmm. I don't remember them doing these in the past seasons. Like, there wasn't so many different details to the challenge. So basically, their team, and the red and the blue team had to have two of their teammates sit on the bench so that they could be even with the white team. So basically, there was two people on, let's say, one playing field, right? That would have to pick up a ball, run to the other end of the field, turn around, throw the ball at a trampoline that would then bounce over there, like behind them.
Hopefully it didn't hit him in the face.
Hopefully it actually made it across the little ditch, right?
Yeah, that was a scary ditch, wasn't it? It was really like...
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're not going to fall in it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's like really dramatic over here.
Right. So they have to bounce this ball on a trampoline that will then shoot behind them and hopefully make it across this ditch to their one teammate that is standing on that other side. That teammate then picks up the ball and runs his distance to a trampoline. They turn around and they have to throw the ball at the trampoline to bounce back. And at this point, they were hoping that it will land in one of three containers, essentially. And these three containers have points marked on them. I think the highest amount of points was like 3 points. Yeah. The first team to score 30 points wins. And if you win, each member of your team wins $1,000. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I would bust my ass for $1,000.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh. So it started off really bad. Basically, the first group of contestants that took the ball and ran to the trampoline, they threw it and it did not even go across the ditch. It barely even hit the trampoline.
Yeah,
it hit the pole and would just fall. And they only get one chance with that ball. So then they have to run another 250 feet or whatever it was to get the next ball to try all over again.
Yeah. I couldn't even I was trying to keep score so I could be like, this team did this, but it was just ridiculous. But then David, just out of nowhere, he made up this method, which was awesome. We didn't really get a good shot to see like what we could actually do.
I felt like the thing is, and this makes so much sense. I think David was good at how he threw the ball, kind of knowing how strong he needed to throw it to get it to go the right distance. But what Hap was not getting, was it Hap and Jay were on the other side?
The sign.
They weren't timing it out. They were just running back there and throwing the ball at the trampoline. And the thing is that there is a moving sign that is going back and forth across these containers. So if you don't get it right, like your ball could be deflected, Yeah. So David, why he was so smart is he would run and he would watch the sign, till it got to a certain point, and then he would bounce the ball, and he would just time it so that his ball didn't get knocked out of play. that is not that hard to think of. I felt like Hap was like rushing, and then once they were losing, it was a little bit more panicky,
Yeah.
you know?
And then the white team caught up, and it was
Yeah.
kind of neck and neck.
Yeah, it was kind of like the red team, David had 24, and then I think the other team had 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then all it took was like, 2 balls to land in these containers, and then they're right there at 20 or whatever it was. But once David was at 24 and he got the 2 balls from his teammates, he's like, I just needed to land 2 of these each in the 3-point container, and we win.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it.
And they
Sure
won.
enough.
Yep.
I know. He was really killing it. And it was so funny because you can see like Hap was Hap is younger than David. And I think he was a little embarrassed like that this man is clearly showing me up in his like athleticism.
It was so funny because Hap was like, I'm eating a full humble pie today. We're like, I don't know if that was a really good analogy.
No, but he's like, you could tell, I think he was a little embarrassed, like he was being shown up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how David is so good or what's wrong with my game, but he was not doing well.
Yeah.
Either way, it was exciting to see the red team win and not the blue team.
Finally.
We've been seeing them kill everything. They've never been at the bottom of a weigh-in. It's like they've been killing it the entire, season so far.
Uh-huh.
It was good to see them lose. Sorry, blue team.
And they got $1,000 each. But all I kept thinking is, does Ruben Studdard really need $1,000? Like, is that anything to him?
Yes.
You think?
Yes. Well, first of all, I don't think he's not like a rich singer. You know what I mean?
He won American Idol.
Yeah, but you win like a recording contract and like what, $25,000?
Oh.
You don't win like millions of dollars. That is really dependent on how well you do. You have Carrie Underwood. Okay, she's rich and she's famous because her career continued. I feel like Ruben, we didn't really see much from him. I think he did some like gospel records and really
But I'm sure
only
he makes
get so far there.
appearances and whatever. Let's not talk about the net
Either
worth
way, he's not like $1,000 is big to anybody, or for the most part. I mean,
Maybe it's a pair of shoes to him.
Who knows? Jay could be, have his own business and be really well off, and $1,000 might mean nothing to him. It might be a shopping spree, right?
True.
So, whatever. It's $1,000. Everybody wants it. That's
want it.
exciting.
I
It's
want it.
groceries for who knows how long. Anyway, so after the challenge, then we kind of get right into the workouts. The red team, I'm looking at them. Dolvett is trying to kind of keep up their momentum. They're so excited to have Ruben back, and they're coming off of this win from the challenge. He's just like, let's keep this going because if this motivates them during their workout, the numbers are going to be great on the scale. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm looking at their team and I'm like, you know what? Red team's actually starting to surprise me, and they could very well have a really strong team. Because I'm thinking Tanya, she had a really good weigh-in last week. Ruben, he's a big guy. I think he can pull big numbers.
And he has a reason now that he's just came back.
Yeah, he has a reason. I think he's newly motivated. Then there's David, who we just saw kill it in the competition, and I think he is a really strong player.
I do too.
I'm trying to think of who it was that we had last season. I'm drawing a complete blank from last season, and he was like the hotter old man. He's not even old. I shouldn't even say that. I'm like totally drawing a blank, and it's going to kill me right now, but he reminds me of him from last season. He was in the top 4. I'm going to look it up. But
I don't know. I watched.
Yeah, he kind of, David is reminding me of him, like where he's this middle-aged guy. He probably played sports in college or younger, and they have this athletic ability and also this discipline that comes with it and is just kind of regaining his drive.
I think so.
Once they get that, I think they're unstoppable. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen with David.
Yeah, definitely.
He's good. I like David. So I'm just looking at the red team thinking they really got a strong team. Like, they could really overtake the blue team.
and I'm looking at Dolvett.
And you're only looking at Dolvett on the red team.
Well, it wasn't funny how his voice was that workout. He was like, "Let's go, come on!" Like
He's
so
always
strong
doing that.
and
He's
like
always doing that.
really, I don't know.
It's like his voice changes and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, he goes into like coach mode.
Yeah, it was motivating.
And then he's all like sweet and charming and he smiles at you and yeah. Yeah, I know. McKenzie, you love him.
Rachel, we see how tiny she is.
Oh yeah, Rachel, I didn't even mention her. She's killing it too and she's one of those like silent killers. I think.
I think so too.
Where she is like really athletic and we don't really know it, but gradually, I think the same way in that at the blue team, we're seeing Chelsea. Bob is so impressed with Chelsea. She's like killing it, but she seems like maybe she wasn't an athlete, but she has that athletic ability that she's never tapped into, and she's just kind of finding it right now.
I didn't know how impressed he was with Chelsea as we find out. Like, he's really impressed with her.
Well, he's mentioned her in the weeks before where it's like, where did this girl come from? You know what I mean? Like, she has that potential to be really strong. And I think she doesn't give up, and I think Bob sees that, and he's impressed with that. I think he's just impressed with her drive. She doesn't complain. You know, I think there's a number of things where she just seems like this cute, sweet Southern girl or something.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't expect this from her, you know, where he has Holly, and I think he was so mesmerized by Holly because she's an Olympic athlete. That I don't think he was really looking at Chelsea, and she's kind of caught his attention.
Yeah.
You know, so we see the blue team. They're still doing their CrossFit thing, which, as we know, is Bob's favorite kind of workout. And they seem to be doing well. They seem to really have it together, but I'm wondering if maybe they're getting a little cocky because they have always been at the top of the weigh-in and they've always won the challenges.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if that's what we see reflected in this week's weigh-in, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe they're like getting too used to winning all the time. I don't know.
I think so.
And then we see Jillian's team. We see them working out. And again, like what I noted is Jillian's team just to me seems down. And I don't feel like Jillian's helping that. You know what I mean?
She's just sitting like this on the treadmill, very just slunched.
I don't know. I feel like, and I think obviously she very sincerely feels bad for what happened, you know, for being the cause. I think she's a little
embarrassed.
Oh, I think she's embarrassed. I think she feels like it jeopardizes her integrity. I think it looks bad to her team. Her team loses somebody because of it. I think she feels horrible. And maybe it's editing because I love her and I don't want to think poorly of her, but I just didn't see her really motivating them. Like, they need something to lift their spirits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To make them feel like a team. I feel like right now they're all kind of working out for themselves because they don't want to be the next one on their team to go home. But they don't seem like a gelled team to me.
Yes.
Where they have like a connection or relationship.
At this point, it's hard to be like a team when there's only like 3 people left. Because when you're when you're down to 2 people, how are you a team? Like, it's only 2 people. But
well, I mean, you could be
think.
a team, and like that could be like your partner, and you guys could work out really well together. If that's like your friend, you know what I mean. If you're working out with one of your good friends, maybe somebody you were on a team with and you click the most with. If the 2 of you are working out, you can motivate each other and work off each other, and don't let each other quit. You know, you can have that in just 2 people. But her team right now, to me, just doesn't seem to have that. And I don't know if it's because their morale is down. And like I said, they're just fighting for themselves individually because they don't want to be the one below the red line. If their team is, you know, up for elimination again. You know what I mean? They don't want to be that person. So after we see these weigh-ins, we then see them walk into the house and they have these DVDs sitting there. And basically it's DVDs to show them or to remind them of why they came to the ranch. And there's a little card that says, remember why you're here. So they each take the DVDs and there's messages on there for each contestant. And what it is a message that they recorded for themselves before they even started.
It's what they sent in to The Biggest Loser, right?
I don't know. It could be.
Yeah,
it could be what
because-
they sent in, or it could be what The Biggest Loser asked them to tape. It could be from when The Biggest Loser sent the camera crew to their house. You know what I mean? And got that footage of their lifestyle, them talking. They did like a pre-interview kind of thing before they got selected. Maybe
like on, you know how America's Next Top Model, how they send in that video, or just even those shows.
like part of their audition casting video.
Yeah,
yeah. I
that's
think
what
it was kind of a combination of both, because you did see them look as if in some tapes, like as if it was them being interviewed at their house. You know what I mean? From the beginning.
Then you saw, and then there was other parts where they were
Where it was like their
standing up,
raw
like-
home video, you could see them showing it
Yeah.
off. Yeah. It was really emotional. I mean, some of the people that stood out to me, we first really see Marie's story, and she talks about how she blames herself for not being a mother at this point in her life. And she's 30, and I think that's where she thought she would be. And they haven't figured out why she hasn't gotten pregnant. And she's thinking that the one thing they haven't really like diagnosed essentially could be because of her weight. And so she has that guilt. And that to me was really sad to see.
Matt
was a sad, what did Matt say again?
He said, you know, he was just huge. You could see how big he was.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't think I'm good enough for my fiance. She's just so beautiful. And we see a picture of her. And he was really big. Like, we didn't even realize that, I feel
Yeah.
like. Because he lost so much weight. And it's great. But then
Yeah. And he talked about, too, like, he says, you know, he remembers making that video. And he said at the time he thought that it was really funny. And now it's just not funny. It's not funny for him to look back and see what he was. He's realizing that was never funny and it shouldn't have been. But now that he has his health like in his own hands, I think he understands the severity of the issue. We also saw Rachel. Rachel was, to me, one of the, like, this was a big moment, I thought, for her. You know, to see herself and to see, at least for us, to see that footage play back where she talks about how she's been working from home for a long time now. So really, she's not socializing with people. She's working from home. She's basically home alone and eating. And she says she uses food as her comfort and as her friends.
Yeah.
And that makes me so sad. I can't imagine that.
And she said she wants connections. She wants to start making connections with real people,
Right.
which is so sad.
I know for me, I always like on the days you don't want to get up and you don't want to go into the office, you don't want to go to work and you think, oh my God, how great would it be to just work from home? That does sound nice. And I think to some people, it may very well be if you have a wife coming home at the end of the day or a husband or whatever it may be, or kids, and you have that social interaction. For me, if I stay home from work for like 2 days and my husband's not there and I have nobody to talk to and it's silence, it's weird for me. Like, I don't really, for 2 days, it might not be bad. I think it feels a little weird to have not like spoken with other people or even to hear your own voice because you have nobody to talk to. I feel like that feels really weird. And I think, God, I could never have that every single day. What if you don't talk to anybody for a full day?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks
I'm like
that's
that
crazy.
too. I think I've never thought about it work-wise, but just even being alone, like,
Well, I think about it work-wise because that's like my day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm talking with people all the time at work. And I just think when I saw her working from home and that's all you do during the week is work, eat your meals and sleep and get up the next day and do that all over again, I can see where she has lost a lot of social connections because she's not really building them, you know? And that, it made me so sad. She's only 23.
and she got so tiny. That's all I kept writing down on my piece of paper because she's so little.
She's getting really tiny. And like I said, I think she is she's one to watch, I think, in this competition. She's one of those contestants that I think it's like, oh, she's pretty good, but before you know it, she's going to be like a killer.
Yeah.
That's what I think. We also saw Jay. Jay had a really touching story where he talks about his sons who want to ride horses just like him.
And he can't even do it anymore to show them.
And then they showed the footage of him with the mask on. I think it's for sleep apnea. That's what it looked like. So they show him laying there with the sleep apnea mask on, and his little son is laying there in his arms, looks so happy. And I think, for a little kid, they don't know what that mask is, and if it's something daddy wears every day, they just think it's normal. They don't know that that is a sign of what's going on with his health. Mm-hmm. And to me, that made me so sad, but I love that he has them and he has that motivation from them. When your kids are telling you, I want to be just like you, then you want to be the person you want them to be. You know what I mean? You want to be the best example. And I thought, how great is it that he's doing this? Because they already admire him and look up to him. If they see him accomplish this, it's only going to prove that to them that much more.
Yeah. I just thought it was so sad how he said, what are they even looking up to? Which is sad.
That is really, that's horrible for him to think that. But if he pulls this off, if he makes a commitment to his health and he does it, he is then showing them just another good example, and they're going to understand that it's important to be healthy, and they're going to want to be that way too. Mm-hmm. So he's in a really good place, and I'm just so glad that he's taking advantage of this opportunity, and his kids are so cute.
Yeah, they're little cuties.
So cute. So I'm really rooting for him. And then lastly, we see David. And we have seen David's story almost every episode.
It's so bad.
It's so heartbreaking. And I love David so much. And he's so amazing. As much as I don't want to see the story anymore, though.
Yeah. And I thought the most touching thing about, we know his wife dies, for anybody that hasn't, heard this. And he watched her take her last breath, which is terrible.
Well, that's terrible too. But also, she was diagnosed just 6 months after they got married. I said this, I think it was last week or maybe the week before. To me, that kills me because they had no honeymoon stage. Their marriage started off basically with struggle.
Yeah. And
was a struggle for 10 years. And the thing that he said, as much as I want us to obviously, everybody wants David to push past this and just kind of take his life into his own hands. What he did say in this moment that really strung a chord with me.
I know what you're going to say.
What? Say it.
When he said he had to wake up the next morning and tell his kids, his daughters, that she had died, he said to be healthy is a gift. Is that what you're going to say?
No, that's not what I was going to say, but that's a good one too.
He said that being healthy is a gift, and I'm so glad that I can show them that, which I never even thought of that. Being healthy really is such a gift.
It is, because you cannot predict what you may have. You could be the healthiest person in the world in terms of what you eat and how you exercise, but we know it. Cancer it can run in your family. Mm-hmm. It puts you at further risk. Even if you're eating the best foods and exercising every day, you can still be diagnosed with cancer, and it can still be a losing battle. Mm-hmm. There are some things you don't have full control over, and you're lucky if that doesn't happen to you. And it is a gift. Yeah. So he's totally right. That was not what I was going to say.
What were you going to say?
What I was going to say with what he made a comment about, and I totally believe it and agree and think this is such a common thing, but he said something along the lines, obviously not quoting him directly, but when you start to take care of someone else's life, you kind of forget about your own.
Yes.
You stop taking care of your own. And so for so long, his wife's life and her well-being and her health was his main focus. He just wanted her to survive, that he wasn't thinking about himself. He wasn't putting his health first. He had other things on his mind. Mm-hmm. And I get that, and I believe that. And people can say you have no excuse, for gaining weight or for eating what you eat. But I believe that.
I do too.
You know, I don't fault him. I would never say it's his fault that he got this way. You know, I mean, yeah, he did make the decisions on what he's going to eat, but I see where he had something else at the forefront of his mind.
His mind was, yeah.
You know, and that was his priority. And I think anybody that has a husband or a wife that's in that position, if you love them as much as he did, you would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
So I really just feel for him, you know. After we see these DVDs, we get a visit from Danni Allen, who was the winner from last season, who I absolutely love. She is a killer, man. That girl is solid. If you saw last season's finale, she was like a statue. Like muscles and firm, tight, strong. She was just like the epitome of perfection. So it was good to see her back and still healthy. She came and brought them Subway for lunch. Go figure.
Yep,
we always
get
see
a
them
commercial.
Yeah, pretty much. We get a commercial in the middle of the episode.
Subway is so great and fresh, and you can put anything
And this is how
on
you get
it.
your veggie serving. Yeah, we all know. We're basically giving them a commercial as we speak. But it was good to see Danni and to see her still healthy and succeeding. She says it's pretty much been a whirlwind for her since she won. She's done a commercial. And I think she's doing a lot of speaking engagements as well. So good to see her. Then we get another quick segment of Dolvett taking Ruben. Why are you laughing?
It's just so weird.
Well, Dolvett takes Ruben. It was kind of weird. It's kind of interesting. Like, why? Why are we doing this? I'm not going to complain because I absolutely love this. But Dolvett takes Ruben to David Foster's house. He is a Grammy award-winning music producer, big name in the industry. And what was interesting is they took Ruben into the room, and David Foster's going on about, you know, how this journey is such a big deal for him and it should really inspire his music, and basically says, take a look at what we've written. And Ruben's like, okay, sure. And they kind of go over it a little bit, make some minor adjustments, and Ruben sings a song. And I thought, how weird is it? I mean, maybe it's not weird. I know this happens all the time, but I just thought it was funny to see David Foster basically say, you're going through this amazing journey. Here's what we've written about your journey.
Yeah.
And let's sing about it.
From the beginning of that segment to the complete end of it was awkward and weird for me because they started off with a scene of a pool and looking out onto the...
Did they start with that? Because I know they ended with that.
They started with it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then we get into that.
Yeah.
And he sings it, and that was awesome.
I could listen to Ruben Studdard sing all the time. I just love him. I loved him when he was on American Idol. You don't even want to know how much I cheered. I was in college, and I was sitting on like my dorm bed, and I would be like cheering, like bouncing up and down. It was fun. My friends and I did it. It was shouldn't even be admitting this, but he was so much fun to watch, and I loved him, and I love his voice, and I think he's so great and such a great personality and person. So I loved hearing him sing. Either way, I was like, do we need to actually admit that someone else wrote a song about Ruben's journey? Like, could we have at least like faked that it was Ruben's actual writing about his own journey, made it seem a little more meaningful?
It was weird.
Otherwise, it's kind of pointless.
It just gets even completely more weird to the extreme that weird can even get. Tell us about what happens next.
I don't know why they did this, or even more importantly, why they did it in this order. But basically, after Ruben sings, they then have Dolvett sing the song. I don't get it. I mean, maybe had you said, Dolvett, why don't you sing it first and show Ruben how it goes?
Why does Dolvett, is he a singer?
I don't know.
Is it supposed to be funny?
Clearly he's not a singer.
He really tried though, I think.
Oh yeah, he definitely tried. But if they would have like made it more funny, like more of a joke, and said, you show him how to do it, we would have been like, oh, you know, Dolvett, he can kind of sing. He can carry a note.
Yeah.
He's on tune. Okay. But instead, they have Ruben sing, and he's all amazing and magical and doing like little fluctuations with his voice and perfect, like it's nothing. And then there's Dolvett singing after Ruben, and you're like, why? Why are we listening to this?
It just got so awkward.
It was bad. I was thinking, oh my gosh, so Dolvett's probably a really good singer, and he wants like hhis moment right now. That's what I was thinking. It was gonna be like a Jamie Foxx kind of thing. Like we all knew Jamie Foxx could act, and then all of a sudden he starts singing, right?
Yeah.
Or he would sing in his like comedy routines.
Yeah.
I thought maybe this is gonna be Dolvett's moment. No, I even was waiting for it to get better when he first started with the first few notes. I was
Me
like,
too.
oh,
Yeah.
it's kind of whatever, and it just was kind of boring, not good.
But it was like they were making fun of him, but Dolvett was really trying to take it serious.
I don't know if they were making fun of him until the very end when then they get Ruben basically saying, yeah, Dolvett can stay in the gym. Like he can keep his day job. And he basically tells Dolvett,
do not come into my arena because you will lose, which is cute, and they're laughing.
Cute, and it's true. Because let's face it, Dolvett is great at what he does, and Ruben's never going to be a personal trainer. And we all know that Dolvett will never be a professional singer, which Ruben is amazing at. So it was just a cute little fun segment. No, I don't think it was necessary, but I'm going to say it was a treat because we got to hear Ruben Studdard sing.
That was great. But then they ended with like a romantic getaway lookout scene. So
just a romantic clip of the pool that David Foster probably has because
we needed to see that.
He doesn't need $1,000. I can tell you that for sure. That gets us right into our weigh-in. Before we go into our weigh-in, though, I, of course, want to take a moment to thank everybody that's been subscribing to the Biggest Loser podcast to listen to us and who's been rating and commenting as well, and also tuning in on YouTube and leaving us comments there. Everybody really has some kind of great commentary. We get a lot of comments from the same people. You guys are very invested, and I love that. And you pretty much are predicting some things. They're predicting, like one, I think it was Average John, who predicted earlier that because of these saves, we may be seeing a double elimination.
And we find out we will be.
We find out that next episode we will be. So good call on that one.
Yeah.
And just want to continue to encourage you, if you haven't done it already, go to iTunes, subscribe, rate us, and comment. And while you're there, check out all the other fantastic AfterBuzz podcasts that you will find. Now we get into the weigh-in.
Yes.
Okay, we start off with the blue team. So the blue team, they're pulling like whatever numbers. Hap gets up there and he actually pulls the biggest number. He loses 8 pounds, but he's also the biggest in terms of weight. So nobody seemed overexcited at all by any of the numbers that the blue team pulled.
This weigh-in, I actually wrote down like everybody's weight that they had started with.
Yeah.
And we were going to say Holly goes next.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised that she weighed going into
296?
this 296.
Were you surprised, like you didn't realize she weighed that much?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because if you think about it, like all the other girls are nowhere near that.
Yeah.
Like Matt weighs 2 pounds less than her.
You have to, you're right. I didn't even think about that. But you also have to take into consideration that she is an Olympic athlete and she, under the softness, I don't want to say that, she probably still has a good amount of muscle that she just hasn't used a lot of. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm clearly not a trainer or a...
Bad topic, McKenzie.
I'm just saying, I think that because of her profession and the lifestyle maybe that she lived for a long time, because we saw old footage of her as a professional weightlifter and she was not buff.
No.
She wasn't thin. So she was always big.
Packing on that. There was muscle.
I think underneath that, she has a lot of muscle. And muscle, as we all know, and many of us use it as our excuse for why we weigh so much, muscle does weigh more than fat. But I don't know. I mean, I think that could be a factor.
Yeah.
So yeah, Holly goes next. She loses 5 pounds. Matt only loses 4, and they look really disappointed. Chelsea loses 5, and Bobby loses 5 as well. Chelsea loses 5, and that's a big moment for her. She starts at 202, and she's at 197, and she could not be happier to be under the 200 mark and in the 100 zone.
And then Allie, welcome to the...
Like as if she's part of this amazing club. Like Allie, yeah, welcome to my team, basically. It sounded like what... I don't think Allie meant that.
No, she didn't mean
But that's kind of what it sounded like. like, welcome. I'm already here. I've been here for a long time. Come
Welcome
join
to the
us.
100s, honey.
Yeah, serious. Exactly. So basically, the blue team weighs in. They lose 27 pounds collectively at 1.88%. Then we get to the white team. And based on that, to be above the blue team, they need to have lost more than 13 pounds. Jay gets up there, and he loses 5. Not really a big number. Marie gets up there. She loses 6, and I think as a female, that's not a bad number. Toomey gets up there.
Oh my gosh.
I was really not thinking this was going to happen because I mean, they didn't focus on her in this episode. So in my opinion, and maybe the opinion of other people viewing, you didn't really see anything amazing from her this week.
Yeah, so you just thought it was going to be another number.
Just another number, nothing great.
But
I
it
mean,
was
we
great.
saw her throw the ball at the trampoline and completely miss the trampoline. So I wasn't feeling like I was going to be impressed by her. And she just kills it, and she loses 11 pounds. And when she goes up there, I don't remember, has to lose more than 3, right? And everyone's like, God, you better be able to pull that.
Yeah.
She killed it.
11. That's so much.
Even Jillian was like, that's ridiculous. Almost like, I think sometimes as much as these trainers know and understand bodies and the scientific and physical elements of how our bodies lose weight and what it takes and how to manipulate that because they've had so much practice, I still think there are times like this one in particular where they don't even get it. They're like, that's amazing. I'm so happy. I don't even know how that happened. I can't even explain how you could lose 11 pounds in 1 week. That's insane.
crazy.
Right. Unless if like your body was kind of holding some water weight maybe last week and so it didn't show up and then it's just kind of flushed. I don't know. Again,
I love that. Like
not a professional.
You're trying to make these.
I try to figure it out.
because half the time they're great, and I'm like,
thank
wow,
you.
I never thought of that. I feel so weird.
But maybe it's not a good thing because I'm putting ideas into your head that you think are absolutely fantastic and
I always
they
think
may
they're
be
good.
way wrong. But I'm going to enjoy it. So with Toomey's help, they beat that 13 pounds they needed to lose. They lost 21, so they're obviously in the clear. Thank God, because Jillian's team is consistently losing.
Yeah. Well, they
And
lost
they needed
22.
it. Oh, 22, whatever it was. Sorry. Yeah, whatever. They lost it, and they beat that team, and they are in the clear, and they can relax. Thank God for that.
Thank God.
They get to keep their
Those
3
three.
teammates.
Yes.
Oh, my God. So we go to the red team, and at this point, it's the red and the blue team facing off. The red team needs to lose 26 pounds. Ruben gets up. He's the first one, and we find out, because we didn't really know since he wasn't there last week, where he was at weight-wise, like if he had lost while he was gone. So they weighed him when he got back, and he weighed in at 409. And he loses 8 pounds. It's not horrible. Yeah, not bad. Rachel gets up there. She's at 198, and she only loses 3 pounds. And I didn't think it was awful because I think she's pulled bigger numbers, and I don't know, maybe this just wasn't her week, but she just seems so disappointed by that number. I don't know. But either way, I feel like in my head, I'm thinking, I really don't want her to go home because I think she has so much potential.
I do too.
Like she has that heart and that drive and that just determination. Like she's got that like grit. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
She's about to get down and dirty with her workouts and she's going to kill it. That's my thoughts.
I like that.
I don't know. Then we have Tanya. She gets up there, and Tanya did a good job last week. The previous 2 did not do so good. So I feel like she's a little bit of a wild card. Like you don't know what to expect. You could see her kill it in the gym, and she doesn't pull anything great. So I didn't really know what to expect. She gets up there. She only loses 4 pounds, and she's not happy.
Can we? Did you write this down too? Right? Tanya and Jennifer.
What about him?
They both weighed in at 224, and they both lost 4 pounds.
That's weird. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I have it down. I wasn't honestly paying attention to the coincidence, but yes.
that?
It is interesting. They're at the exact same weight and they lost the exact same weight. They didn't even point that out on the show.
No.
Well, Yeah. Jennifer loses 4 pounds. No, I mean, and you're right. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. We'll have to see what happens next week.
Yeah.
If one loses more than the other, if they stay.
Who could
That'd
go
be
ahead?
interesting if they stayed at the same number the whole time.
That would be.
David is their last bet at this point, and he needs to lose more than 7 pounds to beat the blue team. Okay? And I'm thinking he could do it, right?
I'm thinking he can't. I
You were?
I really was like, I think it's going to be one of those, like, crap moments. Like,
I was thinking he could blow us away because we saw him do so well in the challenge, and he's got it. Like, he's got that drive. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again about various contestants, but I see that in certain people.
but then again, I didn't know this, like, to me. I had no idea somebody
Yeah.
could even pull 11 right now.
Exactly. So to me, I'm thinking David could pull a huge number and surprise us all, or it could be, I think it would have been shocking if he pulled a low number because of how hard he works, you know? Regardless, he gets up there and he says 7 pounds. Yeah, whatever. I raise that by 10 and he loses 17 pounds.
That was
And I love it
crazy.
because he turns and he goes, "That's a good week."
Yeah.
That's about all he says. And I just thought it was amazing. So they pointed out that David, since coming to the ranch, has lost 92 pounds at this point. I guarantee you, I mean, next week we could see him hit that 100 mark if he pulls 8 pounds. Like that, he could do it. He is on his way, and that's amazing.
That's a huge step.
Yeah. So with that, the blue team is up for elimination, and Matt falls below the red line. And you know, Matt, I think I felt the same way that Bob did in a way where I'm like looking at Matt thinking, is he worth the save? You know, I like Matt's story. He wants to be there. He put off his wedding to be there. And that's all great. But I don't know. Does he have it? Does he have that drive? Is he just going through the motions, or is he kind of pushing his limits? And I think Bob, I thought it was really bold of Bob to point out that, you know, he's been wanting to save for Chelsea because he wants to be there to save her in the moment she needs it because he sees so much potential
And
in
he
her.
wants to protect her. Like, that's just
He's
so crazy
so
to me.
chivalrous and fantastic. I love
Yeah,
him.
I would feel so happy. But then if I was
Yeah.
anybody else in the team, I would be like, oh.
I would have been
Boy.
kind of nervous if I were Chelsea because basically he decides he's going to give it to Matt, which I knew he had to. He had to. You cannot not give it to that person, I think, after you've had that relationship with him. I mean, how bad would it be to be like, no, I'm going to let you go? Everybody needs to be there.
But Matt, like he said, like he gave Matt the opportunity to say, you know, his piece.
Yeah.
And Matt just,
He didn't impress you. I know that.
not at all. Did he impress you at all in any
Not
way?
really. I mean, I think he...
What did he even say? I don't even know what he said. Like,
like, yeah, forgotten. He said that, yes, he definitely wants to be there. Ultimately, it's your decision, and I'm going to love you either way. I don't know. And then he
it
said...
was so weird.
It was not... I think he might have been nervous. He was in the moment, and
Yeah.
I think he really did not want him to let him go, but didn't want to say that. Like, he didn't want to beg because he probably knew Bob was already in a hard place, and he loves Bob.
But this isn't a competition where you need to
You're fighting
see
for your life.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to see the strongness. Like, are you? He's saying, are you strong enough to be here? Are you strong enough to
Yeah.
fight? So if you're not even strong enough
Yeah.
to fight for your, tell me in words, then you're not strong enough to fight physically.
Yeah, well, I don't know that that's really true because some people fight with words and fight with this. Whatever. Either way, you're right. He didn't make a strong claim, but Bob saves him. And when he saved him, Matt broke down in tears. So I think that shows like how bad he was like hoping for him to save
Yeah, I
him,
was
but
like, thank God.
didn't maybe know how to express it. So we saved Matt. Nobody goes home. However, we are teased with next week that we will see a double elimination.
Yes.
And that's where we wrap our episode. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. If you have any comments on tonight's episode, of course, go to iTunes or go to YouTube and you can leave those comments there. And we'll see you guys next week. You can find me on Twitter at LO_VALLES. And McKenzie.
You can find me on Twitter at McKenzie Fayne.
And that wraps it up. We'll see you guys next week.
From
Bye.
executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
I could F-Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.